What the hell is up, internet land? Thralls of Metal back again. I am very excited to give you a brand new album review. I am, of course, Shredlord.
Necrotic, Nick.
Jammin, John.
And we are the Thralls of Metal. And like I'm saying, I've been very much looking forward to bringing you this review with my cohorts. That, of course, is the brand new album by God Mustaine and his Megadeth band.
The sick, the dying, the dead. It's not so far so good, so what part 2? This comes out on the 2nd of September. What a great way to kick off fucking September.
No shit.
On Universal Music Group, band formed in 1983 in LA. This is their 16th full-length overall and the longest break in between albums they've had in their career. Been 9 years since Dystopia. And
holy shit.
Yeah, no, it was
been 9 years?
Quite a while ago.
Dude.
And, backstory, we kind of know Dave Mustaine, his riffs are better than...
Legendary. They're better than yours, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and probably most Metallica's too. Let's be honest. This will be the first one with Dirk Verburen on drums in the studio. He's been in the band for a while now as their current drummer. He's a fucking beast.
Yes.
I've been a fan of solo work for years, and dude was fucking marvelous while he was in there. Second album with Kiko on guitars, which, man, what a monster. And, well, I guess we have to touch on recent exitings, semi-recent exitings. This is the first one in a while without Dave Ellison for reasons that were all over the internet.
I guess his bass parts just weren't handy enough.
Oh, he was slapping more than his bass, that's for damn sure.
Maybe someone should have just reached out and gave him a hand.
I could feel Jammin' John groan all the way over there.
Contain it. Contain it.
Dave certainly didn't. But as a stand-in for the bass work there, we have one Steve DiGiorgio, which pretty much, if you have Steve DiGiorgio on your album, yeah, you have an amazing bass player.
Don't need anyone else.
No.
But this is also the return of James Lomenzo as the touring bassist and probably for future releases now. And yeah, 9 long years. Dave had a lot of, stuff that happened. He, battled cancer, beat the shit out of it. And he's been fine-tuning this thing for a while. I remember even years ago him saying, like, this next album is going to be faster, more aggressive. Like, I want to get a lot of pent-up hostility out. And, well, Dave really doesn't have any shortage of that if you've been listening to Megadeth for years. And I gotta say, like, he came out fucking swinging on this one. Like, this...
Everybody came out swinging.
Yeah.
Let's be honest here.
I mean, you don't accrue this much talent in a band and come out and just shit the bed.
Yeah, you do.
Well, all right, sometimes...
Ooh.
Or, Risk. There was a lot of talent on that lineup, too. But I think the years in semi-dormancy, I don't know, I think it helped sort of fine-tune this and get it nice and aggressive again. And that is kind of the overall vibe in this. This is definitely a more aggressive album than at least Dystopia. I would say, like, kind of on par with Endgame.
First of all, let me give you just a small amount of backstory. Basically, anything Dave Mustaine does, I'm going to pay attention to. He's one of my biggest heroes when it comes to metal, guitar riffs, everything. So when Dave speaks, I listen. And from the moment this came on, I immediately just felt like, as someone who's been following Megadeth for their career, as well, as you guys, but invigorated, man. It seems like there's an energy, and it immediately is felt.
Yeah.
There's an energy on this album from the moment it starts, and while I don't think, from a songwriting standpoint, some of the strongest songs are first, however,
Agreed.
Once it settles in, man, we are just in a pocket of thrash heaven. And not to say that the first couple songs are bad, they're not. There's really not a bad song in the bunch. But what I mean by that is the title track is how it opens up. And it has a lot of different varying parts. There's some clean stuff going on, there's kind of this little intro here, and then there's, of course, the heaviness. But as the album goes on, we get a little bit less of that experimental stuff and just meat and fucking potatoes. And I don't know how the guy continues to just write riff after riff, but he does it, and it's amazing. And I really feel, too, that the addition of Dirk has given him a pocket that he hasn't had in a long time, because
Agreed.
Dirk is probably the most creative drummer I'd say he's had since Gar Samuelson.
Yeah, Gar was a wild man, and again, another guy that kind of gave Dave a lot of room to fucking toy around with, and I feel like you get someone on that level, and Dave goes well. Plus, Dirk likes to play fast, and it shows.
Does.
Like Life in Hell, Night Stalkers, the absolutely fucking barn-burning closer will be back.
Oh
even
my God.
Celebutant which actually features Electra Mustaine on there too. Like, this has a sound that I haven't heard in Megadeth in a while. Like, there's like a fierce old school sort of like Bay Area thrash again, and Dave kind of moved away from that. I would even say, like, on Rust in Peace, like, it got more technical and, you know, like, more lavish in terms of the songwriting. I think some of the faster songs in here are way more stripped down and just like, yeah, we're just kind of punch you in the fucking throat. And, you know, we'll dazzle you with some killer leads, but we're going to keep this kind of, you know, driving, like a downhill fucking boulder about to crush an orphanage or something.
So the production of this album, I think it's done in different spurts. Like, and maybe that happens when you have 9 years to work on a record, and you go in and record something, and you're like, all right, cool. You go in a couple months later, record something else, because I'd say like the first like 3 songs on this album are all very tightly compressed and compacted. Like, it's really clean. I mean, you can definitely hear everything, but it seems almost a little bit too crystal clear in the beginning. Now, as you get into the middle portion of the record, where the riffs get a lot tastier and the lead work gets a lot tastier, the production, I think, kind of expands a little bit. Like, there's a little bit more to it.
I mean, I can get, like, the certain level of compression here because, I mean, this is one where he doesn't want anything mudding up, like, especially the guitar work.
Sure.
The guitar work definitely propels this because, I mean, you honestly get, like, more machine gun riffs on here, but you also have loads of leads and you want those absolutely crystal clear, and yeah, it's fucking awesome.
The right hand of Dave Mustaine is swift, fierce, and just, and it will take anyone out. He continues to prove why he is on the Mount Rushmore of fucking thrash and metal guitar playing, man. He's been an innovator and a bar setter for a long time. However, he's also had this incredible eye and ear for talent. And let's talk about some of the talent he's picked. Kiko. Kiko, in my opinion, is the best guitar player Megadeth has had lead-wise since Marty Friedman. So Megadeth has had a lot of excellent guitar players. Marty Friedman, Chris Poland, Jeff Young, Glenn Drover, Al Petrelli, Chris Broderick, and while all of those guys with the Marty is Olympus. No one will beat Marty when it comes to leads. To me, Marty's lead sound is incorporated in the DNA of Megadeth, and anyone who steps in the shoes of a lead guitar player will definitely look to incorporate some Marty into it because you have to. The classic Megadeth era, that Rust in Peace era, is just so fucking distinct. But let me get back to what I was saying. Kiko, in my opinion, follows that Marty Friedman vibe, and what I mean by that is he's very melodic, but he's also outside the box. Mm-hmm. You're not going to hear him do a lot of just standard scale runs. He does a lot of great phrases, a lot of good earbugs, little things that stick with you, and he does a lot of chromatic stuff. And what I mean by chromatic stuff is he's not necessarily playing in a key per se, he's using passing tones, so he's using notes that are out of the scale, but he's playing them so quickly it gives this flowing sound, and it's a particular flowing sound, but he uses it so well. That's one of the cool things he does. And all throughout this album was just filled with incredible leads. And it wasn't just, not only does he showcase his speed and technique, but once again, the earworms and the great melodies and the phrasing was just on fucking point, man. And to me, that's a must with a Megadeth album, because to me, just as important as Dave Mustaine's riffs are, you want something to complement those riffs. And Kiko is just it. I hope Kiko and Dave stay together, because I don't really see anybody else being able to come in unless the only thing I'd sign off on is if Marty would leave Japan for a little bit, but I don't think there's enough money in the world to get Marty to leave Japan, because he is pretty much like one of the biggest celebrities in Japan when it comes to music stars. He wrote the Japanese national anthem on guitar.
Yeah.
I mean, they love him in Japan, and rightfully so. He's an amazing human being. He's a super nice guy, incredible musician. But what makes Kiko special is his ability to not only have the melody, but also have the technique. There are guys in the past that I feel like have had all the technique, but maybe the melodies and the solos weren't as memorable. Kiko has both, and it shines through on this album.
Mm-hmm. And I gotta say, like, the songwriting on here, it kind of harks back to various, points in Megadeth's career. Yeah. Like, you definitely hear stuff that, kind of sounds like a little bit like Countdown to Extinction, albeit with, like, beefier production, like the title track that opens up. kind of has a bit of that sort of like Countdown, or maybe even like She-Wolf, off of Cryptic Writings. The end of it kind of has a little bit of that melody, but there's stuff in here that kind of sounds even like more fresh and new. Like, I mean, again, the faster songs, like the only song I can think of that could really compare to like how intense they are is a song like Rattlehead.
Yeah.
And Rattlehead is a fucking barn burner still. Overall, this album feels more technical, more thematic. Like there's a lot of attention to detail, and that kind of goes back to having 9 years to create it, like going back, fine-tuning things, retracting bass. There's definitely a lot of stuff to work with there. But I think sometimes maybe it gets a little too like transition happy sometimes. Like you get some weird acoustic breaks every now and then, which granted the melodies are always solid because I love like all the fucking melodies on here.
Dude, the contrast of the riffs and the acoustics in Killing Time.
Yeah.
Those were really badass.
Yeah.
But then you get like weird, almost skits on here too. Like there's like a lot of samples and like, definitely good setup. Like Dogs of Chernobyl has like children in a playground playing, and I like that themes really well, and even the end of the song has like dogs barking in the distance and closing in. I thought that was really cool theming. But then you have Mission to Mars, which has a lot of space stuff.
Yeah, and if I'm gonna say, if there's one song on here, if I had to remove one song off this,
it would be that one.
It would be this one, only because it sounds the most unlike the rest of the album.
It's cheese.
It's a little bit of cheese. It almost harks back to some of the Cryptic Writing kind of stuff to me a little bit, which definitely isn't bad, but it just doesn't fit the premise of everything else that's going on.
The narrative, so to speak,
There's a lot of like darkness to the riffs, or like, more aggressive sounding, and then, the first, well, I'd say like 2/3 of Mission to Mars is almost kind of a power pop riff, but just played with a metal tone. Like, I don't know, it feels very major chordy, like kind of happy, and the lyrics.
It's just kind of like
the lyrics are.
The lyrics are
cheesy.
You'll have that.
Dude, but the ending of that song is
It's
sweet.
amazing.
And it feels like it's almost a section of a different song. Like, it's a great way to end the song because it gets nice and intense, and that sets you up for, again, the absolute barn burner. We'll be back.
Dicks.
Like, probably my favorite track in the entire album, just because, man, that is such an intense track. There's like fucking like 5, 6, 7 fucking solos on it, and I loved every single fucking
Shreddy
one.
McFun tits all day.
Dude, the chuggy breakdowns. But yeah, like there's some songs in here that, I think are, most of the songs in here are really good. I do think the middle of the album, there's a bit of a lull. Like, he kind of settles into more like the mid-tempo territory, gets, kind of like that standard gallop you kind of heard on most of Dystopia. I think opening up with those more aggressive songs that kind of set you up for something else, and then you get this kind of dip in the middle. Like, granted, the album has a nice, even flow. It has a lot of variety on it.
Ends very strong, though.
But I wanted more of that intenseness. Like, dude.
I mean, he gave you Ice-T.
He did. Yeah, dude.
That's intense.
And Night Stalkers is a fucking ripper of a song.
That's a jammer, dude. The riffs in that song are nasty.
Dude, some of my favorite riffs in the entire album are in that song. But then, We'll Be Back came on, and that's like my favorite song on here, because Jesus Christ,
that's a pretty awesome song.
Like, you can feel the hair in your arm stand up.
Yeah, it gives me a boner every time I listen.
He erupted.
Yeah.
He literally.
I mean, I remember sending all these guys a message. The day We'll Be Back, the music video came out, I was on my way to work and I blasted it, and I just goosebumps, and me just thinking Dave Mustaine's fucking back and he's whooping ass, and I just telling these guys like, this album's gonna be great, and fucking, I was just fangirling hard, and I gotta be honest, it did not disappoint me.
Honestly, this was a solid fucking listen. Like, it was, pretty much what I expected, because like a lot of the songwriting here felt like this was Dave not trying to appease anyone other than himself. Like, he just wanted to write a solid album.
Yep.
He's always flirted with some accessibility, like chasing the Grammy for years. He's got that. Now it's just pretty much, I want to fucking write a stupid fucking heavy album again and just bring the fucking riffs. And
he did.
Yeah, this is that album.
So let's get down to brass tacks here. I gotta give this album a 4.5. It might be a little fanboyish, but I don't give a shit. Dave Mustaine and Megadeth are a band that is in my DNA and has been in my DNA for a long time, and I love this album. I think there is a heaviness that hasn't been here, and a heft that hasn't been here since maybe the End Game, and before that, maybe United Abominations.
Yeah.
Dave Mustaine is inspired, he's pissed off, and that's when he's at his best, man. And I cannot wait to see these fuckers live in concert. I cannot wait. Although, we're going to have to wait because the tour they're currently on, I can't give my money to Five Finger Death Punch.
I'm not going.
I'm sorry.
There's too much cousin fucking energy in that arena.
Yep.
Regardless, this is a 4.5-star album to me. I absolutely adore it, from the riffs to the snarl of Dave Mustaine to the incredible leads to the tempos and paces set by Dirk. It's a new chapter of Megadeth with Dirk in there. He opens up a lot of possibilities that Adler could not do for him, and some of the guys before, like Drover and stuff, could not do. Dirk and Kiko, I feel like, bring out the best in Dave right now, and you combine that with Dave being motivated, and Megadeth is firing on every cylinder right now. I absolutely love this album. 4.5. Go buy it. Give Dave your money.
I'm gonna give it a 4. I had some little minor production gripes and a couple songs worth of cheese, but that doesn't kill it overall because it is jam-packed full of amazing riffs. The lead work just gets tastier and tastier as the album goes on. Again, much like these guys said, the anger is back and the drive is back and the ability to create masterful works of art has returned. I had a lot of fun with the album. It was fun to watch this guy go crazy with guitar phases.
They know my love of Megadeth, so pretty much whenever a cool part comes on, I get lost in the sauce and start zoning out and doing Stevie Wonder stuff.
Yep,
And
those are my favorite things.
He's got a condition called lead face.
Yep, he does. He
kind of
really-
noodles about with it.
Like his
it's
eyes roll
amazing
back
to
in
watch.
his head, and he just goes, "Ugh," and it's interesting to watch.
I'm taking Kiko in to my mouth. I mean, to my brain, not my mouth.
But overall, yeah, the whole thing was just kind of an elevating experience, just a good time to listen to, and man, riff fucking city, especially the last.
From one of the best that ever riffed.
Dude, the last track is so nasty.
Oh.
Ugh. All right, go ahead, Nick.
I'm also going to give it 4. I love our Lord and Savior. He delivers some of the finest fucking riffs, and this, again, much like we've been saying, feels invigorated and purposeful. Like, it's just straight and to the fucking point.
Yep.
You know, the riffs are tighter than ever. Dirk, I was even saying before, like, this came out, like, when he joined the band, like, he's the wild card.
Sure.
He is someone that I can't quite factor for just because he has a wide wheelhouse in terms of drum work, and if Dave lets him go, which Dirk and Kiko have a lot of writing credits on here, which it's kind of different in terms of a Megadeth album, because mostly it's Dave at the, control panel the entire time. He let others step in, and I think they added some variety to this, and it made it just, I don't know, more of an adventure of a listen.
Yep.
And Dirk fucking killed it on drums. Kiko, oh god, dude, that's
Please never leave Megadeth.
Stay with
Unless
Megadeth.
Marty wants to come back.
Well, yeah.
He would gracefully step aside for Marty, I feel like. Him and Marty are friends. Marty just did a solo on Kiko's solo album, so...
Do 3 guitarists.
Yeah, I
Do
mean,
3
he
guitarists.
was-
Yeah, just do that.
Do the old Iron Maiden thing,
Yep,
right?
there you go.
We don't want to fire anyone, we'll just add them. Fuck
Yeah.
it.
But yeah, this album is fucking awesome. This is kind of, the Megadeth album I've been waiting for. Like, granted, there's like a little bit of a lull in the middle, but every song still had great fucking riffs, great melodies. I don't know, like, I think he had more than enough time to fine-tune this, and it came out fucking absolutely awesome. Definitely going to be jamming this one a lot. If you're a longtime Megadeth fan, there's a good chance you already pre-ordered this. I totally understand. But if you weren't, sold on Megadeth and you weren't sure about, where Dave could go with this new one, get this one. This is fucking thrash metal, and it is fucking awesome. So, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you are new to the channel, subscribe, because we do stuff like this all the time. We are also on Patreon. If you'd like to help us out there, there'll be a link down below to thrallsmetal.com. Within that link is a link to our Patreon, but hey, while you're there, you can actually kind of shop around, maybe pick up one of our shirts. We will have new merch here eventually. We got a nice little demo there of a hat, and it'll be cool.
And as always, thank you guys. Appreciate you taking the time out of your days to hang out with us. It is something that we look forward to, and it is something we hope you guys look forward to.
For sure.
Thank you very much. And on behalf of my metal cohorts and I, we will catch you on the next video. Peace the fuck out.